If you could magically make all the guns disappear with the wave of a wand, like magically, boom, all the guns are gone, would you do it?
If I can make all the guns in the world go away with the wave of a wand,
I would definitely not make guns disappear.
It's a good question. My first go-to would be to say yes, because I think the world would just be a better place, be more peaceful. I think there'd be less killings.
No, you need protection. Some people need protection, some people feel safer with it.
No, I don't think I would do that. If I had the power to make all guns magically disappear, I wouldn't do it.
No, I probably wouldn't make all the guns disappear.
whether it's gun versus gun, bomb versus bomb, knife versus knife. I mean, a weapon is the weapon, and I think it just comes down to intent and getting it in the right people's hands.
However, at the same point in time, I would have to think about people who maybe are not able to adequately defend themselves. You know, those people, I guess, I would say that they do have the right then to have a gun, carry it on themselves, and be able to protect themselves with a gun.
Whether it be for hunting or for protection, it's essential.
I've actually posed this question quite often whenever I'm talking to people about firearms, their aversion to them, their hatred for them, or even those that are considered themselves positive. I don't believe in the notion that getting rid of all the guns on the planet would instantly make things better. I think the people who we are worried about, people who are in the business of taking people's lives, those aspects of things aren't necessarily going to change. The way that they execute them will. The one thing that provided an even playing field is now eliminated. So just because we get rid of all the guns doesn't inherently make us safer. Because if I'm a criminal and I know no one has guns and there's no guns at all I'm gonna do is recruit some of my friends and say, hey, let's go ahead and kick in some doors. And so instead of it being 1 or 2 of us, it's gonna be 5 of us. And there's not much I could do against 5 dudes, much less a 72-year-old woman. A 72-year-old woman at home by herself with a gun is a vastly different opponent than a 72-year-old woman at home by herself without a gun. If she has a gun, she's equal to those guys, even if they do have a gun. Yeah, sure, they may all have guns at the same time, but the one thing that makes them equal is that not one of those 5 guys wants to die. Everyone universally understands that bullets don't have names on them. They just go wherever they're pointed. That equals the playing field. So that 72-year-old woman with a revolver in her hand puts them in a state of defense that they wouldn't otherwise be in if she was just a 72-year-old woman at home by herself without a gun. So I think people tend to underestimate how much a gun makes everyone equal in that sense or in those type of situations. Back in 2011, I bought a used Glock 27 from a local gun store. Unknown to me at the time, the previous owner of the gun outfitted the G27 with a LaserMax guide rod laser. I was still pretty new to guns, so this was a huge deal for me. Over time, as I learned more and dove deeper and deeper into the tactical abyss that is the online gun community, I drifted away from lasers because all the cool kids in forums, articles, and videos were undermining the utility of a laser on your gun, as if only noobs wanted lasers on their guns because of what they saw in movies. Admittedly, it's pretty much true. A lot of people get their ideas and beliefs about guns from what they see in movies and what they hear in music. If I were writing a text message, that last line would have been followed by that one emoji with his hands in the air in the darkest complexion I could find. It's now 2017, and I'm a lot wiser, developed my own informed opinions on many things, and today I want to make the case for lasers. Well, laser guide rod lasers to be exact. A laser doesn't make you a better shooter any more than cruise control makes you a better driver. Well, except for adaptive cruise control. Now that's the shit. Hell, in the age of pervasive texting and driving, it actually might make you a better driver. In the case of the laser, as a good friend of mine put it, a laser gives you the finer ability to take an accurate shot. Long story short, if all your other mechanics are trash, your shot will be too. That being said, if I had to take a well-placed shot from 20 to 25 yards and had to choose between my iron sights or my guide rod laser, which was sighted in at 20 to 25 yards, please believe I'm gonna go with the laser. Back when I used to play basketball a lot, there was always that one guy on the court who would overplay your strong hand, exposing any weaknesses you had going to your weak hand. The good players always learned from that and took steps to make their weak hand stronger. In more ways than not, the laser does the same thing for not so optimal trigger press and control. Using a laser during dry fire practice will immediately expose any weaknesses in your trigger control and ability to hold your sight on target in ways that your stock sights can't. For someone who struggles with trigger control, this is invaluable to me because I can't cheat my way through a dry fire practice if I'm using a laser because it will expose me immediately. Look, on the surface, and I know this may sound cocky, but hear me out. The vast majority of people learn about guns from the media. In most movies, they treat guns with lasers like death rays. I've literally heard conversations between people talking about how they can't miss shooting with a laser. Thus, I think there's something to be said about the idea there may be some psychological effect on a criminal who largely gets his information on guns from movies when they're confronted with a citizen with a gun fitted with a laser. Visually, that's gotta be a little intimidating. I remember watching in India as Angelina Jolie curved bullets around people, cars, and corners, and almost making it look possible in real life. However, reality dictates that to shoot around corners accurately, you have to be behind the gun to see your sights. Well, the laser in some ways mitigates that necessity. Now, I'm not suggesting that a laser allows you to curve bullets, but it does give you the ability to expose as little of yourself as possible if you have to take a shot from around the corner, or make it easy to take an accurate shot while you're in a less than ideal position physically. Here's the thing, with a guide rod laser, you don't have anything to lose. That is, if you have the money to buy one and you don't have any issues changing out your guide rod. The LaserMax guide rod laser is completely unintrusive to the gun. Hell, when I bought a G27, I didn't even know it had a laser guide rod until I pushed the takedown button. You don't have to change anything. You can use all the same accessories, all the same holsters. If you want to run night sights, you still can. You want to run an RMR, you still can. You want to put lights on your gun, you still can. And if time comes and you don't want to use a laser, just turn it off and use the gun as normal. I'm not saying the laser is better than this or that. I'm just saying it gives you options without any sacrifices. And in a world where 2 is 1 and 1 is none, and being prepared and having options is critical, to me, the LaserMax guide rod is a no-brainer if price and changing out the guide rod isn't an issue for you.
You will fire 6 rounds.
If you've been watching the NOIR Team Challenge this season, then you're familiar with this next guy. He's the lead instructor for NRA Carry Guard and previously served as a Green Beret with the U.S. Army Special Forces.
See how I can pull the slide back?
He's trained foreign military, police units, and U.S. Special Forces units, as well as everyday folks like you and me.
I was U.S. Army Special Forces, so I was a Green Beret. That gave me not only the firearms foundation, but also gave me the ability to hone my personal protection and situational awareness skills, which is a lot of what I do today.
Do you find that some of the things have just become instinctual and that you do without even realizing it?
Absolutely. Things do become ingrained and a little bit instinctual. But at the same time, I definitely learned that your habits do die. 6 or 8 months after I got out of the Army, I think I went to a Home Depot one day and went in and grabbed a couple things. I really couldn't recall how many people, I even interacted with or what were the cars around me in the parking lot. And it just kind of hit me that everything that I took for granted is no longer being ingrained in me because I'm not really practicing it on a daily basis.
So for someone like me and general civilians, what realistically do you think we could do to kind of shorten that time period between that gap of internalizing the reality of the situation and then being able to act on it?
Simply the best thing that you can do to shorten that gap is to run your mind through these scenarios. When you came in here and sat down today, you've been here for 5 minutes, just visualize somebody coming in that door, visualize gunfire starting to happen. But if someone's just sitting in the car, their car's off, they're not on their phone, definitely keep your distance from that vehicle. This area right here is particularly dicey because we've got 3 blind spots fairly close to us. If I can prematurely get my hand, into that pouch, just while I'm walking to my car, hey, it might look a little bit strange, but I've got my hand on a firearm right now, so that's gonna save me time, that's possibly gonna save my life.
That sometimes you find yourself in a situation and your internal instincts are going off, where, like, say, your spidey senses go off, so to speak. Do you always listen to your gut? Is it something that you kind of have to learn how to modulate in terms of, okay, this may be unfounded, and then how much of it do I actually pay attention to?
If something doesn't look right, we say, just doesn't look right, JDLR. Let that tell you something, You're rolling down the street, car just rolls up, stops. My brother, that happened to him. Dude walks out, gets out with a gun, robs him at gunpoint. Like, what are you gonna do? So that is where all this other situational awareness training we're talking about is really gonna pay off. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna react drastically. Yeah. It could be something as simple as you just diverting or crossing the street.
I call it nope. I call it the nope situations, where it's kind of like for instance, I had a friend tell me they were in a movie theater and the guy looked really fishy, walked in with the backpack, was sitting down, and did a couple of weird things. And then I was like, you stayed through the entire movie? Like, at a certain point, my mind would have went,
you're like, nope.
Yeah, and I just got up and I would have left.
Totally. Yeah. That's a great example, and all too often people are they're like, no, I'm sure it'll be okay. Oh, I'm sure it's nothing. It's surprising how often people just don't see the potential bad, that could happen from a given situation.
A lot of people ask me about traveling with firearms because each airline has their own policies. I go online and look at what their policy is as far as flying with the firearm. And then from there, you can generally get a gauge of what to expect. So with handguns, the way I typically try to plan it out is I have to account for an extra 35 to 40 minutes on my flights because, 1, I have to check in because I can't just carry on. 2, you never know what issues you may encounter. So you may get someone who kind of freaks out about it, or they may have a process that you've never experienced before and it takes even longer. Or you have 8, 9, 10 people who are also traveling with firearms, and sometimes you have to take them to the TSA site, and then you have to stand there and wait for them to check it. So take whatever time you generally allot for going to your flight, and then add about another 35 to 45 minutes. So, generally speaking though, most airlines require you to have a lockbox. So I usually travel with this box, and that's usually where I keep all of my guns. I have a carry gun, and I have what I call my bedside gun. My carry gun typically is gonna be a smaller gun that I know I can carry. Right now I have my Glock 43, and so on top of that, what I would also have is I'd have what I call a bedside gun, which is basically a bigger gun with a higher capacity that, when I'm staying in hotels or whatnot, it allows me to, 1, have a light, have more capacity in the gun, and I can keep that by the bedside. Or it's a gun I keep, or as I call my backpack gun. This is the gun that sits in the bag because I'm generally gonna be running with a smaller gun. Now, as far as ammo is concerned, they usually want you to keep it in the original box or some type of self-contained container. They don't like loose rounds. Like, you can't just have like a paper bag and just throw rounds in a paper bag. So typically what I like to do is get like some of these cases from like the gun store. I think this holds about 100 rounds of 9mm. And so I keep all my self-defense rounds in here, and then I put this in my check bag as well. And so typically this is what an arrangement looks like for me whenever I'm traveling with my firearms. I've always been intrigued with people who are able to make a living off the land. Those types of individuals could go off the grid and not even blink an eye. I mean, let's face it, I'm much more at home in a high-rise than I am in the lowlands. I got a glimpse into the other side when I spent an afternoon shooting with NRA's Josh Powell. He's never happier than when he has a shotgun in his hand. He's an avid duck hunter and a masterclass sporting clay shooter. So we were doing some talking the other day. You do a lot of clay shooting. I do very little clay shooting. So I figured we'd come out here and he'd teach me some clay shooting.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest differences between shooting, black rifles or handguns is that you're not aiming a shotgun. Yeah. And I think that it's much more akin to golf, frankly, than shooting, your AR. Let's go shoot some.
Let's do it. Pull.
Where were you looking?
At the target and the actual front sight.
Right. Yeah. So just look at that target.
Okay. Pull.
All right. Now, you went back into, you're in a big hurry, right? You're like, and then you're not looking at the target. You give yourself time to connect to that target.
Okay.
If you're not connected, you're not gonna hit it. I'm gonna tear that whole sight off there because you don't need it.
My eyes are like glued to it. It's like.
Do we have pliers? Let's get some pliers.
It's like a visual tunnel hole. When I pull the shotgun up to my arm, all I see is that green fiber optic.
Voila.
Pull.
That's what I'm talking about. How about that? All right, that's good.
And I didn't know what my barrel was doing.
There you go. I've never said that to you, but you figured it out.
Yeah.
What that gun's doing out there, it's just waving around. It's all here.
Pull.
Yep.
So right there,
yeah.
I tried to really relax and slow down.
Yep.
And then there was a moment where I was like, hurry and shoot it.
Well, let me ask you this part. Visually, when you did that and you went through that, I'm assuming that it looked really big.
Yeah.
And then the target got smaller.
Yep.
And then it got a little bigger.
Yeah, after I actually was able to pull myself back and relax.
Right.
Then it was like, okay, boom. I'm becoming familiar with the discomfort.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great answer. So let's have fun now. How about we do a 1-2 report?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Pull.
Oh, no. You shot it! That was instinctive. That bird came out like a quarter. It broke, but you just went up with your eyes and pulled the trigger.
Yeah.
That's shooting a shotgun. That is really instinctive, though. I mean, look at how far you came and, I don't know, how long have we been doing this, 30 minutes? That's awesome.
So this is a Pro Series Mossberg 930. It was a gun designed by Mossberg essentially to fill a bunch of different roles, whether it be hunting, shooting clay, self-defense, you name it. I really like the gun. It's kind of one of those like one-size-fits-all options for just kind of a family or somebody who's kind of on a budget, who's looking for a really good shotgun for the price.
What's the other gun?
I don't know. Don't ask me about that one. It's an over-under, kind of a more traditional style break-over shotgun. That's about as much as I know about this particular gun, to be honest with you.
Can we shoot some real quick?
I mean, I'm never against shooting. Pull. Pull. Pull.
Stands out.
I like the balance of it. Something about the balance, and I think the way I cheek it feels kind of good. I didn't expect for it to feel this good, because this gun felt really good in my hand. So I'm just gonna keep going until I miss. Now I'm gonna miss, watch. Pull. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this. Josh is an insanely great shooter, and since he's had such a successful day of hunting, we took full advantage of that and had a real farm-to-table fresh quail dinner. Tony Makris joined us for the evening, and if you're a fan of hunting, you've no doubt heard of Tony Makris. He's the host of Under Wild Skies, a popular big game hunting show that airs on the Outdoor Channel. You can watch past seasons of the long-running series by browsing Under Wild Skies catalog on NRATV.com.
This is great country if you're an outdoorsman. This area was settled in the late 1600s, early 1700s. And so people have been living in this low country on this water and being fishermen and oystermen and hunters and duck hunters and all sorts of living on the land. And, you know, those were days before you had, fancy grocery stores with package. So whatever they were going to eat, they had to either plant or catch. And so
this would be this were farm to table tonight.
Yeah, you got grits, which would have been locally grown corn. You got turnips, but they grew all that sort of thing, and they supplemented the protein with something they either killed or caught. It's kind of a way of life down here.
The funny thing is how, a lot of people always talk about guns only serving one purpose, and I'm completely outside of my element right now. But
what do you mean?
In terms of, like, I'm a city boy, right? I mean, like, if you look at our body language, just on that alone, right?
Right.
Y'all you relax, you chill. You're at home. Every noise I hear, I'm like, what is that? But at the same time, and I always say this, the gun actually serves as a catalyst for me appreciating the outdoors in a way that I never would have been able to.
I like to call it reality for me, like what we need to be.
A lot of people on the other side think that we've evolved past or progressed past this type of lifestyle. The irony is, if everything were to go to shit tomorrow, it would devolve into this. And I don't mean devolve as a pejorative, but just it will come back to this is the foundation in terms of what our lives would essentially be like.
If you're gonna eat, you better be able to hunt. And if you weren't able to hunt, you're probably not gonna make it. And when I look at all the people that criticize it or don't understand it, which is usually the same, I go, you don't know what this was about. I mean, you can measure the advance of early man from when they stopped, eating bugs and berries and nuts and whatever they could find, and they started hunting together. That's where language came from. That's where tools came from. That's where coordination came from. That's where moving together came from. Now, we know we can all go to a grocery store nowadays and buy food, but it feels a little better, and it feels, much more enjoyable to know that you went out and shot these quail today and fixed them, and everything that we're eating is local.
I mean, when I sit with my kids and we tend to eat a fair amount of game in our family, I think we spend a little bit more time appreciating what we're eating at that time.
Completely.
I think in a sense, it's what it's also done is kind of highlighted my inadequacies. In the sense of, if you would have dropped me in an environment like this, I couldn't survive. And I'm laughing about it, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's kind of pathetic.
Because I've been hunting all my life. I first went to Africa in 1999. I know you can laugh, say 1899. But in 1999, if you'd have dropped me over there without the tribesmen, the bushmen that I was hunting with, I wouldn't have made it either.
But there's a culture to it. There's a, and, we talked about it before. There's almost a romance.
There is a sort of romance around it, but there's also a sense of that this is who we are.
Yeah.
This is in our DNA. This is the way we were brought up. You want to talk about being connected to nature. As a hunter, you're not going to a refuge. You're not going to a state park. You're going out somewhere where you got to kind of get to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of muddy and dirty. It's not on the map, and that's nature.
Yep.
Holding out on us. It's everybody, honey. Mr. Eddie told me to come collect what's his. Who the f*** is that? It's my boss. I'm working man.
You're gonna hear an initial action, but you're gonna wait for a second action.
Copy that. Stand by. Camera speed. Action!
All right, guys, we're talking about the unconventional draw. Obviously, we're in a movie theater. It's a very likely place to be able to be in a situation where you might have to draw your gun. And we've all been in a movie theater and thought to ourselves, what action would we take if somebody walked into that movie theater right now? Like we always talk about, everything we do needs context, whether it's in training or reality. You go to a range and you shoot on a static environment at a 90-degree angle from the target. You draw your gun and shoot, and that's the A+ answer. But that's not what reality is, and chances are, if a threat does pop up, the environment is going to be extremely dynamic, and you're probably going to find yourself in a position that you didn't expect to be in. That's why we make ourselves uncomfortable in training in order to recognize these things and adapt to our environment. There's 3 things that we want to take away from this scenario while we break this down: unorthodox positioning, blending in, and finding concealment. The first one of unorthodox positioning is getting into positions that we didn't expect to be in that are going to be uncomfortable. In this situation in the theater, I was having to orient towards a threat, identify it, and draw, all while trying to move my feet in about a 2 feet space in front of me with other seats around. The second thing is blending in, and especially if we conceal carry. We do not want to draw unnecessary attention to ourselves if we have to be the good guy in that situation and deploy a firearm. You don't want to be standing there all stoic like a superhero and drawing attention to yourself. In order to do that, we need to blend in with what the environment is doing, with what the people are doing around us. If everybody's reacting or acting in a certain way, we need to be a part of that blending process as we're continually taking in our environment and applying as much situational awareness as possible. Just because everyone's jumping on the floor doesn't mean I'm gonna take my eye off what the threat's doing. I can still move to a different level below the chair and still keep my eye on what the threat's doing. Blending in is a huge part of concealment, and that's our third thing. You're concealing yourself in that environment to not draw attention to you. There's no reason that I can't conceal myself behind one of those chairs or whatever my environment is giving us in order to get the firearm out online and do it effectively. So while I'm blending in and finding concealment, I'm still taking in what's going on in my environment and putting myself in the best position possible. That way I'm exposing myself as little as possible, using the concealment of the back of the seats to my advantage. That way, instead of seeing this big profile of a guy drawing a gun on you, all you see is a sliver of a head that you're probably not even gonna be looking at because you're looking at bigger targets. You're looking at big, flashy movements. All these 3 things wrapped up together gives us an advantage in the fight if we were to need them.
All right, stand by. That's 2 seconds. And action.
Sending. When facing away from a threat that's actively shooting in this scenario, the priority is to orient towards the threat to gain awareness, identify their location, and take action if necessary. The first step is to rotate my body as quick as possible by positioning my right foot to prep my legs to turn. Once my feet start moving, I can begin to rotate my body. I start my draw with one hand until my lead hand rotates enough to assist clearing my shirt material out of the way. Once clear, I establish a 3-finger grip and start my draw. The second my pistol clears the holster, I drop my elbow and immediately bring my gun up in my focal plane, meeting it at center chest to establish a 2-handed grip. Once I establish my stable shooting platform, I simultaneously keep a low profile to stay concealed while leaning to find a good lane to take a shot through. Target ID is critical with a large crowd in a confined space.
Previously on the NOIR Team Challenge.
Welcome to the Season 6 NOIR Shooting Challenge. Let's talk about the first course of fire. Teams will be determined based off of this first course. Now, let's meet our contestants.
My name is Barrett Falbush.
A lot of people know me as Alexandra.
My name's Nicole Arel.
Thea Van Syte.
I'm Darren Lasorte.
I'm Colion Noir.
once you hit me with you miss, you're done. That kind of changed the perspective for me a little bit, right?
I was treating a crossbow differently than I would a firearm.
I would never load my rifle and then run in front of it.
From there, we will team up shooters, Barrett and Nicole.
I like it. I like it.
Mr. Noir, everybody. Your teammate is Mr. Darren Lasort. We've got Alex and Thea.
I like it.
Let's talk about course of fire number 2. It involves possibly all 4 different types of weapons platforms.
I honestly believe that this entire course is not going to be determined by speed. It's going to be determined by who does not freak out.
Wait, do you have any shotgun ammo?
Shit.
The one round that I had to run all the way back here for because I missed a shot on the star.
I figured I was going to be the one up there. And when you say I shoot Texas Stars all the time, I'm like, oh, heck, I got this in the bag.
So, after our first 2 courses of fire, in first place, we've got Team Bravo. Course 3 is a friendly game of horse, or in this case, gun.
Exactly. They're going to get a U, and then they're going to get an N. So they're going to be out first, and then we have to.
You hear this guy?
Yeah.
You know what's awesome about this right now? Everyone's getting tired.
Oh, I don't get tired.
Yeah, okay.
What letter is that, Barrett?
G. That's what a group looks like, Colion.
G-U-N.
Okay, I'm not positive that you hit the target.
A very loud sound.
It doesn't matter. They hit it. Let's go. This round, I promise you we're going to beat you.
Oh!
I'm not missing this whole competition.
Stage 4 is a fun one, involving pistol, shotgun, and a truck tire.
So I think rolling the tire for 15 seconds and then shooting like a son of a bitch. Slow it down.
I don't even have enough mags that I'm going to put into that steel target.
I think we underestimated how hard that was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
The only thing difficult that I see that's going on is your ability to get the gun back up and running. Rack it?
It won't rack.
Yes, it will. Rack it.
She told me when to pull the trigger, and I pulled it on her mark.
I'll tell you when to shoot. 3, 2, 3.
I think it's the best shot of the comp so far.
Team Alpha, Team Bravo, you guys tied, so we're gonna have a tiebreaker.
Last time he rushed his shotgun, he missed. Ego.
Course of Fire 5 is inspired by the crazy gun laws of Washington, D.C. We have a D.C. zone. In that zone, you cannot possess guns, ammo, or magazines. The shooter will run either around the DZ with extra ammo for the next station, or they can run through the DZ without extra ammo.
The penalty of missing one of those plates is just too great. Running all the way around this thing, I mean, it's crazy. So
Barrett, you flew through that sucker at a quick pace.
Well, if you just say F it and just run straight there.
The bag.
The bag.
The bag.
This next course of fire, we're a pretty cool course of fire. One shooter is gonna dip their hands in the ice water, while the other shooter runs back, grabs up to 4 ammo cans.
Wow, 3 in one hand.
Iceman will dig through the ammo cans in search of a 10-round magazine, in which they will shoot a piece of steel 5 times. The person who ran the ammo cans will fire 2 crossbow shots into the crossbow target. Team Charlie, fastest time by 10 seconds.
Damn, like that.
The standings as of now. Team Alpha, 12 points. Team Bravo, 13 points. Team Charlie, right there, 10 points. It's a tie game.
It's literally coming down to the last bit here.
Season 6, Noir Shooting Challenge. The last course of fire is here. I think we're all ready for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, it's gonna be an exciting moment.
Bring on 5 more.
Let's talk about this last course of fire. I have here in my hands a Mossberg MVP Pro Varmint bolt action 308. We'll be shooting the Federal Premium 175 grain Sierra Match King gold medal match bullet. One shooter from the team will be shooting at distances of 3, 5, or 700 yards in 1 minute. That person will accumulate hits on steel, and they will accumulate time with each hit. Half a second at the 300, a full second for every hit on 500, and 2 seconds for every hit on the 700-yard target. The time that shooter 1 accumulates will be used by shooter 2 on their carbine on the 75-yard range from what is now an unknown distance. Shooter 2 will then shoot chalk. Every chalk hit is worth 1 point, as in the points that you guys have accumulated over the last 3 days.
Wait, are there gonna be balloons on these?
There is no balloons.
Oh, thank God.
So literally anybody can come back and win at this point.
Wow.
The amount of time that shooter 1 gets you, shooter 2 will appreciate. Each team will get 3 minutes of dry fire practice. They can use that 3 minutes however they want. This rifle is zeroed for 300 yards. What questions do we have?
So there is no winner. It's just how many
points you can accumulate at this point.
Correct. So there will not be a winner for this stage. We will tally on the total number of points you get from the chalk to your scores, which up until this point are Bravo team, 13 points, Alpha team, 12 points, Charlie team, 10 points. So there's only a 3-point gap at best right there.
Wow.
Anyone's game.
Wow, okay.
Good questions. Let's do some dry fire.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks. Wow.
And your 3 minutes starts now.
Thank you.
Oh, we're not gonna have the magazine in there, right?
The magazine will be in there.
It will be in there.
It's as simple as this. Just drop it in, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna have to have at least 2 or 3 seconds. I can't just, you know, not shoot chalk. I can't have a half a second or 0 seconds to shoot chalk. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely could not do this.
Okay.
Shit, no.
I'll just throw it in there and
Yep, just throw it in there.
Okay.
And the 5 is clean, and it's the large circular gong at 5.
Work the action for me. Go ahead and put the bolt forward. Okay. Safety is going to be off. Yep. Safety is just going to stay off.
Okay.
Can I, like, if I'm loading for her, can I hold the ammo in my hand, or does it have to be on the
You can hold it
table?
in your hand.
Now look for your round. Where's your round? Now find your round. Where's your round at? If they're going to be loose, you're going to come in. They're going to drop in.
Are you gonna load it in there for me, or are you gonna hand it to me?
Whichever you want. I'll do whatever you want.
Just load it in there.
Okay.
So if you've never shot a bolt gun before,
And so it's the biggest gong. So of the 3 visible gongs, it's the one on the left?
with the orange, yes.
Now, you see how your breathing and your body's working with the crosshair, right? Better off you can do to just stay as calm as possible or have a little shoulder on the gun as possible, the better you're gonna do as well.
When you go to load it, try not to hit the table because it affects the sights like tremendously.
Are you starting at 300?
Yes.
So find 300 real fast. Find 300 in the scope.
Okay.
Find 500 in the scope. Find 500, hurry.
Okay.
Find 700.
All right, y'all, time is up. You can use the rag to help even out, you know, an unlevel bipod. Use the shooting bag to help you out. Stage the ammo however you want. Team Sloth, it's on you. Stand by!
Feed it, go ahead. Okay, go.
Hit!
Rack, rack, rack. I need you to go a little bit faster for me, okay? 300 again, 300 again.
Hit!
Rack it. All right, I want you to go to 500 now, okay, girlfriend? You're doing great, you're doing great. Go to 5. Just going to 5.
Got it.
Hold on that mill. Rack it.
Miss. I think
You
it
got
was
anything for
high.
me?
I think it was high, I'm looking.
A little high. Okay,
It was high.
take that center crosshair and just take it very slightly above where you were shooting. Rack it.
Low right.
Low right.
Low and right.
We're gonna go back on the 300, okay? That's where we're gonna work it. We're gonna go back on the 300 and we're gonna sit there and work it all day long, okay? You
Going
got
to the
this.
3.
Rack it.
Hit.
Rack it. Let's go. Let's go. I need you to rack it. Let's go. You're doing great. You're doing great, girlfriend. Okay. You're good. Good work. Solid work.
What do you think we did?
Well, we did 3 hits, so at 300. So we got a second and a half.
Team Alpha, you ready for this?
Ready.
Last course of fire.
Last course of fire.
Last chance to hopefully pull out a victory, okay? You guys have 1.5 seconds. That was 3 hits on the 300-yard target.
That's right. That's all we need to win.
All right, let's see it.
Thanks.
Get that shot.
Thanks, buddy.
Team Alpha, you have 1.5 seconds to shoot as many pieces of chalk as you can. Shooter ready.
Ready.
Stand by. Got 2.
Nice.
Nice.
All right.
Nice job, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Nice.
Good job.
I'll wait for it. Hit your teammate first.
Yep.
You're good.
Thanks, buddy.
Thea, Alex, Team Charlie. Eyes and ears, going hot. Shooters ready. Stand by. Hit! 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 High, just high off the left side. Just left of center, high. Hit! High right. 1 o'clock position. That was a miss. Hit! Nice job, Alex.
Some good shooting, dude.
Nice. Good job. Team Charlie, last course of fire. You have 2.5 seconds to shoot as many pieces of chalk as you can. That is thanks to Alex getting awesome hits at 300, 5 hits. Now you need to live up to your end, hit some chalk.
You got this.
2.5 seconds, as much chalk as you can.
All right.
Sound good?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's see what you can do. Load and make ready.
Using your red dot or your irons?
I'm using the irons.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Team Charlie, you have 2.5 seconds to shoot as many pieces of chalk as you can. Shooters ready, stand by. One hit, nice job.
Good job.
Good job, Thea.
Thanks. At least I got one.
Bravo team, stand by.
Go. Oh, shit. I didn't know what that was.
Hit. 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 Hit.
You have 8 seconds. 6.
Miss. Low,
4,
slightly left.
3, 2, 1. Good shooting.
Dude, thanks. That was fighting. I was fighting it. Fighting it there at last.
Team Bravo. Thanks to Darren's super fast sniper skills. You got 8 hits, man.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
So thanks to that, you guys have 4 seconds. You have 4 seconds, Collins, to hit as many pieces of chalk as you can from 10 yards.
All right.
It's a lot of time, man. Get some hits.
So, all right, brother. Crush it. 2 to win.
Load
2 to
and
win.
make ready. Shooter ready. Stand by.
No, but he got it.
You got 2.
All right, brother. It was good.
Nice job,
Nice
guys.
work. Nice work. Thank you.
Pop those rounds off.
Woo!
Shooters, Season 6 Noir Shooting Challenge coming to an end here.
Oh,
unfortunately.
Everyone's like, no, and I'm like, yes,
Lots of
please.
heat to celebrate not having to be in, but it was fun.
Let's talk about that last course of fire number 7. Thea, Team Charlie, you only had 2.5 seconds. That's not very much time.
Nope, not at all. Okay, this course is interesting because it's about precision. And so it's like Alex only had a minute and she either had to shoot 300, 500, 700 yards. And that's just like so hard to like make long distance shots in such a short period of time. And then however many shots she makes, that dictates how much time I get. So I only had 2.5 seconds, and that's a short period of time to hit a whole bunch of little 1.5 inch pieces of chalk. Like, That was rough. That was tough.
You did manage to hit one piece of chalk.
One piece.
You got a point. Got a point for the team. How'd it feel?
It felt pretty good to hit one. Would have
Feel
been better
rushed?
to hit 2. Oh yeah, I felt rushed. I had like
Yeah.
2.5 seconds.
Go,
I was
go,
like,
go.
oh man.
Bravo, Team Spotted Owl.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to be an automatic decision as to who shoots the semi-automatic versus the bolt action. The bolt action's old. Of course, that's what I'm going to shoot. It's gonna,
Before you even told us the course, I was like, you're on bolt.
Yeah, he's on it, yeah. Well, it paid off because, Darren, you had 8 hits. That gave Collins 4 seconds, hitting 2 pieces of chalk.
Should have free-handed it, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You could have moved
just-
faster?
Yeah, just because I thought, okay, stabilizing on the table would be better, but it actually slows you down. And so the recoil comes up through the rifle, and so I'm looking for the reticle, whereas I'm more used to just more of a fluid motion.
Now, if it was in the if we were prone in the ground, it'd be a different story because there's not much movement. But against that wood with that magazine and your elbows, there's just a little too much.
A lot of movement.
Too much movement going on for sure.
Team Alpha, you're moving pretty quick. You only had 1.5 seconds.
That's right.
And you managed to hit 2 pieces of chalk.
I did.
That's pretty good. That was awesome. So you guys got 2 points on that. You know, you didn't have a whole lot of time, but you had some time. You had enough time to hit 2. So thanks to Nicole on the long gun.
That's right.
Let's see where that puts us. Thea, Alex, Team Charlie, you guys gained 1, so it puts you at 11. Team Bravo, you guys gained 2, putting you at 15 points.
Nice.
And Team Alpha, you guys gained 2, puts you at 14.
All right,
Second place for you guys. First place.
Nice work, guys. That was fun. That was fun. Thank you, Barrett. I appreciate that.
Guys, that was incredible. It's been a great pleasure working with you all for 3 days. This saddle bit is fine. I kind of wish I was on your end of it.
no doubt.
Well, I've seen
That'd
you
be
shoot.
hard. Yep.
I've seen you shoot, so stay over there.
Yeah, we don't want to run up against you.
All right, guys, that was awesome.
Thanks,
Killing
guys.
it.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Fun times, fun times.
Nice.
Good job.
I think this is probably the best combination of courses that I've run since we've been doing this.
Certainly the most interesting, no doubt.
Yeah, I think this was probably the perfect combination in terms of athleticism and skill set and the mental acuity involved in shooting.
Yeah.
I think this point of apex kind of serves as a catalyst for what I think the Noir Shooting Challenge can continue to grow to be.
Right.
And I think this kind of set the barometer and the standard for what it'll continue to look like going forward.
Right. It goes to show how much fun you can have, how many different things you can do. I mean, literally, the opportunities, the options to have fun shooting are endless.
Yeah.
And what's cool is this is kind of how we perceived it the first time we talked about athletic shooting. And the Noir Challenge is a very simple situation where we have 2 fields of play. We have pretty simple targets, and we just go out and have some fun. Yeah, baby! I love you. I love you, Colion! Good job, buddy. Nice work.
Once enemies, now teammates.